What's up, everybody? Sujan Patel here. Today I want to share with you a behind the scenes look of my marketing strategy. This is the exact strategy we're using in 2017 to promote and market all of my endeavors, from my ebooks to my SaaS businesses that target sales and marketers, to online training, some advisory roles, all the way up to my consulting business with Web Profits. It sounds like we do a lot of different things, but we actually have a very specific marketing strategy that can tackle growth for all of these different business units. All right, so let me walk you through my marketing funnel. It's very similar to what else is out there, but I have a little different take on it. So first we have exposure, and this is not even traffic to my website. Then we have awareness, which is when somebody comes to the website or one of our web properties. We have trust and credibility. Then we have consideration, when somebody starts a trial, becomes a lead, or whatnot, when inquires. Then we have a sale. This is when the transaction happens. Then after that, we have post-acquisition marketing, which is advocacy. And lastly, relationships and building true fans. That is the whole funnel. And the way I organize my marketing is in two parts. I have on the left-hand side, what's scalable marketing. On the right-hand side, non-scalable. What I mean by scalable is things that anybody can do. You can take what you learn here or what I do and repeat it. It might require money, it might require resources, or more time, but anybody can pick up this strategy and do it. The non-scalable things are conditional things that I can do because of something I've built up in my career, for example, speaking or a book deal I'm working on. Yes, anybody can do those two things, but that might not be something you can just go and do immediately. It's something that I've worked towards, and so it's conditional to me having 13 years of experience and things I've done in the past. So now let's break down each part of the funnel and the tactics and strategies we do. We'll start with exposure. And what I mean by exposure is when I get eyeballs on my content or any of my work. It's not actually traffic to my website or anything I control. It's literally eyeballs and exposure. So a strategy I do on the scalable side is publish for large publications like Inc., Forbes, Entrepreneur, Huffington Post, and so on. I write for these guys weekly, so I get a lot of eyeballs. It exposes me to a wide audience. Another example is the 10x content I create. Because it's very in-depth content and far greater value than any other content that's out there on that topic, it also gives me a wide range of access to new people. Writing for industry blogs also helps me, such as writing for Search Engine Journal, Content Marketing Institute, and so on. Now, on the non-scalable side, a book deal that I'm working on is a exposure element. Again, wide audience, might not be someone that converts immediately, but it definitely gives me eyeballs. Also, content circles. As you probably noticed, I create a lot of content that's right outside my expertise zone or right outside targeting sales and marketers. Things like customer delight, customer advocacy, the email outreach, mobile marketing, growth hacking. These are all things that are very, very popular, that are all adjacent to what I do and my audience is interested in. Or if you think about it this way, problems or things my audience and potential customer is also working on. And lastly, it's interviews, podcasts, expert roundups, and all those things that come from just having built a personal brand. Again, some of these things are not so scalable, but it's something I do. Now let's talk about awareness. Awareness is when a visitor comes to my website or a property I have control in. I have about 7 or 8 different websites. I think maybe more, but I can't keep track these days. There's too many things going on. The strategies I do on the scalable side are industry guest posts. Yes, that's also exposure, but it does lead to traffic to my websites. Also my podcast, growth mapping podcast, something that's new in 2017, but also that generates actual visits to my website. Again, 10x content also generates awareness, and exposure, but it drives traffic to my websites. Now, blogging for SujanPatel.com and Web Profits, again, attracts people to the websites. Now, on the non-scalable side, there's co-marketing opportunities like the HubSpot course I did. I taught one of the content marketing modules for last year's HubSpot content marketing course. There's speaking engagements, again, gets a little bit of traffic to my website, but not as much as you'd think. Those are the things I do on the awareness side. Let's jump into the trust and credibility side. You're going to probably find there's a little bit of overlap on both of these things. Now, what I mean by trust and credibility is, yes, they've come to my website, but doesn't necessarily need to be a property I own. It just means maybe they come to my website multiple times, and things I'm doing to get trust and credibility, or build trust and credibility with my audience or my traffic. Blogging on Sujan Patel and Web Profits blog very much helps that, just as it does bring in traffic. That 10x content also builds that trust. It shows me as an expert. Also, webinars and retargeting helps that. What I mean by that is when somebody comes to the website or opts into my email list, they will be retargeted with more valuable content. Again, showing that I'm a credible and trustworthy person. Now, on the non-scalable side, speaking is the predominant things that help me build credibility because it's a sign of trust. And it's not just anybody can do it. Again, it's non-scalable, but it helps showcase that I know what I'm doing. Now let's move on to the consideration side. So if I've played my cards right, I've got the right exposure, I've built awareness, and I have trust and credibility with my audience. And it comes down to the next phase, which is consideration. So these are people that are leads, new trials, and potential sales. They're considering purchasing from me. What I do on the marketing side that's scalable is things like create webinars and videos. Again, they play on the awareness and trust and credibility side as well, but very much help with the closing of a deal. Also helping people on the non-scalable side, not something that's you can scale. It's not something everyone can do or has the time to do, but helping people is something I do that even if they can't purchase from me, a lot of times on the agency side, people reach out, they simply don't have the budget, or they want something that just doesn't make sense. And I don't want to sell them something that doesn't make sense. I want to help them grow. I don't want to take their money. And so I usually spend some time with them. I'm talking 35, 45 minutes to an hour, sometimes longer, sending the right resources. And I don't expect anything in return. But a lot of times what happens is these people that don't buy from me, they end up telling their friends about me. I've helped build credibility to them, and they will then help me gain more sales or refer me more business. Then it's a sale, right? So I told you about the ebooks, I have my SaaS businesses, and I have training, I have equity deals, I have consulting. The flow of this though is when somebody buys an ebook, they could also become a SaaS customer. They can also buy our online training. They can also become a client. Oftentimes, the sale from an ebook does convert into a consulting lead. We've had companies like Tumblr, SAP, and many more large companies start by buying one of our books. I've got a handful of speaking gigs and advisory roles because they like my content, they like my videos, and they've liked all the things I've done all the way to this funnel before they've purchased. And so they end up moving up funnel. So we have an upsell model, and we don't necessarily focus on upselling people, but that does happen just by the nature of the economics. So our ebooks range from $1 to $30, average about $20 a sale. Our SaaS products go from $9 to $300 a month. Average LTV is about $800. Our training, our content marketing bootcamp, we're going to be launching a lot more training programs, go from $500 to $2,000. Our average is about $900. Equity goes from maybe 10,000 shares to a few percentage. I have a handful of companies I just own 15% for being advisor and whatnot. Now I have no clue what the average value of that's going to be. We'll see. Time will tell. It might be a complete waste of time, but hey, I like helping people, so it's fun. On the consulting side, our prices range from $60,000 to about $250,000, so $250,000 annually. Average LTV for us is a little over $100,000. ACV, not LTV. And then lastly, you have friends and relationships. And I've, honestly, a lot of this from just doing marketing, I've built a lot of great relationships. Not intended, but that's priceless to me. So that's our sales part. Now let's talk about post-acquisition marketing, because that's very important. And I don't like to stop my marketing as soon as we get the sale. I want to continue it on. So guess what happens? I can build that word of mouth. And the way I do that is through advocacy. And that's the next thing. That's the very first thing I do. So what do we do on advocacy? First and foremost, we have dinners. I also do a lot of retargeting. What I mean by that is when somebody becomes a customer, they've purchased something. I want to continue to provide them more value. Why? Hopefully they tell their friends. Hopefully they get more value, and it increases my trust and awareness. And it all results into word of mouth and referrals in the top of the funnel. And on the non-scalable side of things, I talk to my customers. Most of the time, it's me answering support. And you've probably heard from me. Yes, it's actually me. And why I do this, it is very painful because it is time consuming. But what I learned from this is who I'm selling to. I understand who they are, and I get it. I get their problems because frankly, I've had those problems. And when I humanize with those people and my customers, they like me. And I'm not doing it for them to like me, but I want to treat them how they want to be treated no matter what. And this ends up getting us more word of mouth. Again, helping people is another thing that generates this. So sometimes we find customers who bought my ebook ask me a question. I'll email them an answer. I'll maybe sometimes even record a video if I get asked that a lot. In fact, some of my new videos have come from talking to customers and whatnot. Now, the last part I want to talk about is the relationship side. It's the relationships and really building true fans. These are people who will do anything. These are people who I can talk to on the phone. These are people who we have a relationship outside of money. And if I can build a relationship with all my customers, that would be amazing. Because that will help us get, from a financial perspective, way more word of mouth and referrals. From a non-business, from personal side, I like dealing with people I like. I like dealing with my friends. Why not? If you're going to have to do something, you might as well do something with people you like to do it with. So the marketing things we do on there is networking. Every time I travel, I email my list usually, as well as anyone who's a client or a customer, and say, hey, we're gonna host a dinner together. We're gonna do something. I'm speaking here. Come by, say hi. No agenda. That's on the scalable side. And on the non-scalable side, again, not something everybody can do, but fairly easy if you work at it, is hanging out on Slack groups and Facebook groups. I'm in about 15 or so Slack groups. I'm in like 6 or 7 active groups where people post questions. Maybe they're not necessarily directed at me. I just go and answer them. This is usually after dinner, in the morning, stuck in traffic. I probably shouldn't say that, but this is the times I'm just lounging around. So I don't have very much downtime. This is where I spend my downtime. All right, guys, that's my marketing strategy for 2017. What do you think? Am I crazy? I also want to hear from you about what's your marketing strategy? What are you doing to market your business this year? And is there anything I've said that you're going to try to do? Definitely let me know in the comments below. And be sure to check out our podcast, growthmappingpodcast.com, and our webinars. These are the 2 new channels we're using. For our webinars, it's crowdcast.io/webprofits. All right, guys, stay tuned until next time.